Look, I want you to listen up and really hear me when I say this. For the next 3 days, just try something different. Talk to yourself the way you've always wanted someone else to talk to you. Speak to yourself like you're already the person you want to become. You've been talking down to yourself for too long, and it's time for that to change. For just 3 days, I want you to speak words of affirmation, words of strength, words of confidence. What you say to yourself matters more than you know. In fact, it shapes your reality. And I'm here to tell you, if you change the way you talk to yourself for just 3 days, your life will change. We often underestimate the power of our own voice. You may think, I'm just thinking, I'm not hurting anyone. But the truth is, those thoughts are shaping the person you are becoming. Your internal dialogue has the power to influence your confidence, your decisions, your attitude, and your success. Every single day, you're either building yourself up or tearing yourself down based on what you say inside your mind. So think about it for a second. What have you been telling yourself? I'm not good enough. I'll never make it. This is too hard. How's that working for you? It's time to stop feeding your mind with negativity and start fueling it with words of encouragement and strength. Just 3 days of talking to yourself differently will begin to rewire the way you think, the way you act, and even the way you see the world. And here's the kicker. You are the only person who can control this. No one else has the power to dictate your self-talk. You have the ability to choose. If you want to build a new future, if you want to reach your potential, you've got to start by talking to yourself like the person you want to become, not like the person you fear you are. The words you speak to yourself are more important than the words anyone else speaks to you, because you are hearing them every single moment of every day. It's time to take that power back. If you commit to changing the way you speak to yourself for just 3 days, you'll start to see shifts in your mindset, your confidence, and your actions. The moment you believe in yourself is the moment the world starts to believe in you. So let's do this. For 3 days, talk to yourself like you're already the person you want to be. And watch everything around you change. Think about it. Who's the first person you judge? Who's the first person you criticize? It's you. Every single day we pass judgment on ourselves. We are our own worst critics. Before anyone else gets a chance to point out our flaws, we've already done it. Before we give ourselves a chance to succeed, we've already told ourselves we can't. We question our worth, our abilities, our potential, and in doing so, we hold ourselves back without even realizing it. But what if we reverse that? What if instead of immediately criticizing yourself for not being perfect, you started praising yourself for making an effort? What if instead of hearing that voice telling you you're not enough, you heard one saying, you've got this, you can do this? What if the first thing you did every morning was encourage yourself, not tear yourself down? The way we talk to ourselves is often shaped by years of negative reinforcement, by the failures we've experienced, or the harsh words we've heard from others. But we don't have to let that define us. The truth is, it's time to break free from being our own biggest enemy and start becoming our biggest supporter. Self-criticism can be a natural part of self-improvement, but it's when it gets excessive, when it turns into a constant loop of negativity, that it stops serving us. Constantly being your own worst critic won't lead to growth. It'll just keep you stuck in a cycle of fear and doubt. The real power comes when we shift from criticism to constructive feedback, from self-doubt to self-belief. When we start to talk to ourselves like we would talk to a friend or someone we care deeply about, patient, understanding, and encouraging, that's when change begins to happen. In a world where we are constantly facing external judgments, pressures, and expectations, we need to become our own greatest ally. This shift starts with the way we speak to ourselves. You have the power to break the cycle of self-criticism. You have the power to lift yourself up and build yourself up with your words. So let's stop waiting for validation from others and let's start validating ourselves. Be your own biggest fan, because if you don't believe in yourself, who will? Your self-talk is the blueprint for your success. It shapes how you approach challenges, how you face setbacks, and how you see your own potential. Every action, every goal you set begins with a thought, and that thought is influenced by the way you speak to yourself. When you talk to yourself with confidence, encouragement, and belief, it sets a foundation for success. But when your internal dialogue is filled with doubt, fear, and negativity, it creates roadblocks that can prevent you from reaching your full potential. Think about the last time you faced a challenge. What did you say to yourself? Did you tell yourself that it was impossible? That you weren't equipped to handle it? Or did you tell yourself, I've got this, I can do this, I will find a way? The way you talk to yourself in those critical moments determines whether you'll rise to the occasion or whether you'll shrink away. The words you use to speak to yourself act as a constant reminder of what you believe you're capable of. And if you continually speak to yourself with doubt, you start to believe it. Success isn't just about skill, it's about mindset. It's about believing in yourself when things get tough. It's about pushing forward even when the world tells you it's impossible. But you can't do that if you don't have the right foundation to build upon. And that foundation comes from the way you talk to yourself. When you speak to yourself like a champion, you start to act like a champion. When you believe you're capable, you start doing things that align with that belief. And when you start acting like a winner, you begin attracting success into your life. The power of self-talk goes beyond motivation. It's about creating a mindset that constantly seeks solutions instead of focusing on problems. It's about programming your mind for success, for resilience, for growth. Every time you tell yourself you're capable, your mind absorbs that message, and it strengthens your ability to face challenges head on. Your words are not just words, they are powerful affirmations that shape your actions and your reality. If you speak to yourself like someone who is meant for success, you'll start seeing success. Remember, it's not just about having the right mindset in the good times, it's about having the right mindset in the hard times too. When you encounter difficulties, don't let your self-talk crumble under pressure. Instead, speak to yourself like the resilient, strong person you are becoming. The power to change your life starts with the way you talk to yourself. Speak success into your life, and your actions will follow. Words have power. The words you speak to yourself, the words you think, shape how you see yourself and how others see you. Every single thought and phrase that runs through your mind has an impact, whether you realize it or not. You might not think twice about those little negative comments you make to yourself throughout the day. Those small passing thoughts like, I'm not good enough, or I'll never get it right. But those words carry weight. And when you repeatedly tell yourself you can't, or you're not worthy, or you don't deserve something better, you are programming yourself to believe that very thing. The truth is, your mind is listening to everything you say. And the more you say something, whether it's positive or negative, the more your mind accepts it as truth. It becomes a belief, a guiding principle that drives your behavior. This is why it's so important to be intentional with the words you use, both when you're speaking aloud and when you're thinking to yourself. Words like, I am strong, I am capable, and I deserve success will reinforce that truth within your mind. The more you affirm those truths, the more they become a part of your identity. But the reverse is true as well. If you're constantly speaking words of defeat and limitation, you will start to act accordingly. You will begin to shy away from opportunities, hold yourself back from taking risks, and create a barrier between you and your true potential. Negative words breed self-doubt and hesitation, while positive words create confidence and empowerment. Words don't just affect your mindset. They affect your entire energy. They shape your actions, your decisions, and even your relationships. Imagine for a moment that you could speak to yourself with the same kindness and encouragement that you'd offer to a close friend. If your best friend were struggling, would you tell them, "You'll never make it," or "You're not good enough"? Of course not. You'd be there to lift them up, to remind them of their strengths and abilities, to encourage them through the tough moments. So why do we often treat ourselves so harshly? Why do we think it's okay to talk to ourselves in ways we'd never talk to someone else? It's time to break that cycle. It's time to speak to yourself with the respect, the compassion, and the belief that you deserve. The words you use are a reflection of how you view yourself. The more positive, powerful words you use, the more your mind will start to believe them. And once you start believing in your own worth, your own abilities, there's nothing that can stop you. So be mindful of the words you speak, both out loud and in your own mind. Start with just a few small changes. Replace "I can't" with "I can." Replace "I'm not good enough" with "I am enough." Replace "I'm too scared" with "I am courageous." Your words will shape your reality. They will determine what you achieve and how you feel about yourself along the way. Speak to yourself with power, and you'll start to see the world around you respond to that power. The power of words is the power of transformation. Your mind doesn't differentiate between what's real and what you tell it. That might sound a little wild at first, but it's absolutely true. Your brain processes your thoughts as though they are facts, and over time, those thoughts become beliefs. That means every time you tell yourself, "I can't do this," "This is too hard," or "I'm not good enough," your brain starts to accept that as reality. It doesn't know the difference between a challenge you can overcome and a limit you've placed on yourself. It simply accepts what you tell it and shapes your actions accordingly. So, if you keep telling yourself you can't, you start believing it. And when you believe it, you make decisions based on that belief, which leads you to miss out on opportunities, hold yourself back, and ultimately fail to reach your full potential. But here's the good news. You have the power to change that. You don't have to be stuck in a cycle of negative self-talk. Your mind can be retrained, reshaped, and redirected toward the positive, the possible, and the powerful. It starts by becoming aware of what you're telling yourself. When you catch yourself in those moments of doubt, when you hear the negative thoughts creeping in, that's your opportunity to intervene. Instead of reinforcing the negative, switch it up. Instead of "I can't," say "I can figure this out." Instead of "I'm not good enough," say "I am more than enough." Your mind will start to accept these new thoughts just like it accepted the old ones. Over time, that shift in thinking will reflect in your actions. The more you speak to yourself with belief, with positivity, and with encouragement, the more your mind will begin to operate on those new beliefs. Your mind starts to look for ways to make your positive thoughts a reality. It finds opportunities instead of obstacles, solutions instead of problems. It gets more creative, more resilient, and more confident in your ability to take on whatever challenges come your way. This is where the real magic happens. When you start believing that you can, your actions change. You start taking risks that you would have previously avoided. You speak up when you would have stayed silent. You take chances, step outside your comfort zone, and pursue things you once thought were beyond your reach. Your thoughts are the foundation of your actions, and when those thoughts are filled with belief, your actions follow suit. Think about it this way. If your mind constantly hears, "I can't," or "I'm not good enough," it will constantly search for evidence to confirm that. But when your mind hears, "I can do this," or "I am worthy," it will search for proof of that too. Your mind is incredibly powerful in this way. It shapes your reality based on what you tell it. So why not start telling it something different? Why not tell it that you are capable of greatness, that you are worthy of success, and that you can achieve anything you set your mind to? You can change your reality by simply changing the narrative in your mind. It's about deciding to take control of your thoughts and reshaping them to serve your best interests. Don't let negative self-talk dictate your life. Instead, speak to yourself like someone who believes in their potential. Someone who believes they deserve success, because that's exactly who you are. It's time to stop limiting yourself with the words you say and start expanding your possibilities with the thoughts you choose to believe. You have the power to change your dialogue. The way you speak to yourself is the most important conversation you'll ever have. Every day you engage in this dialogue, sometimes without even realizing it. And yet, how often do we stop to think about the impact those words are having on our lives? The truth is, your self-talk is the script that runs in your mind. And that script determines the way you show up in the world. The thoughts you repeat to yourself, the words you use to describe your worth, your abilities, and your potential become the foundation for your actions. Imagine you were able to change the tone of that conversation. Instead of focusing on what you can't do, what if you focused on what you can? Instead of feeding yourself stories of failure, what if you told yourself stories of resilience, of strength, of overcoming challenges? You'd be amazed at how quickly the world around you starts to shift when your internal dialogue becomes one of belief and positivity. When you change the way you talk to yourself, you change the way you approach the world. You stop doubting, stop second guessing, and start showing up with confidence, clarity, and purpose. The truth is, the way you talk to yourself is often influenced by old habits, past experiences, and external voices. Whether it's the expectations of others, criticism from your past, or societal pressure. But none of that defines who you are today or who you can be in the future. You have the ability to choose what you tell yourself. You can rewrite the script. The words you choose shape your identity and your future. The more you speak to yourself with compassion, with strength, and with belief in your own potential, the more you begin to embody those qualities in your actions. For example, let's say you've faced setbacks in the past. It's easy to start believing that those setbacks define you, that failure is who you are. But if you keep telling yourself that story, you're living in the past. The real power comes when you change the narrative. Instead of thinking, I failed, I'll never succeed, you could change that to, I faced a challenge, but I've learned from it, and I am growing. Those small shifts in language make all the difference. They allow you to move forward with a sense of purpose instead of staying stuck in a cycle of self-doubt. The change starts with small, intentional steps. It starts with catching yourself in the moment when you're about to engage in negative self-talk and redirecting it. When you think, I can't do this, replace it with, I'll figure it out. When you catch yourself saying, I'm not good enough, replace it with, I am worthy of success and I am enough just as I am. These are simple shifts, but they are powerful. They shift your mindset, shift your energy, and ultimately shift the course of your actions. The beauty of it is that you don't have to wait for someone else to change the way they talk to you. You can take control and change the way you talk to yourself. You can choose words of encouragement, motivation, and empowerment. You can speak to yourself like a friend who has your back, like someone who believes in you even when things get tough. And when you do, you'll be amazed at how you start showing up for yourself in ways you never have before. By changing your internal dialogue, you're giving yourself permission to succeed, to be happy, to be confident. You're making the choice to become the person you've always wanted to be. And that's the real power of self-talk. It's not just about feeling better in the moment. It's about creating lasting change, a mindset that fuels your growth and drives you to become the best version of yourself. So start speaking to yourself with the respect, the love, and the belief you deserve. The dialogue you create today will shape the life you live tomorrow. The way you speak to yourself sets the stage for how you approach every challenge in your life. When you're faced with difficulties, what you say to yourself in those moments of adversity will determine whether you rise or fall. If your inner voice is filled with doubt, fear, or negativity, you're going to approach challenges with hesitation, uncertainty, and a lack of confidence. But if you replace that voice with one that is filled with belief, strength, and resilience, you'll start facing those challenges with a completely different attitude. The power of your words is that they shape your response to adversity. Think about the challenges you've faced in the past. How many of them were made harder simply by the way you were talking to yourself? How many times did you tell yourself it was impossible or that you couldn't do it before you even tried? The truth is, many obstacles we face are less about the external situation and more about our internal perception of it. When we tell ourselves that something is too hard, our mind starts to look for reasons why it can't be done. But when we tell ourselves that we are capable, strong, and equipped to handle it, our mind starts to find solutions, build resilience, and push us to take action. The difference between success and failure often comes down to how we handle setbacks. If you've been telling yourself that failure is the end, then every setback will feel like a blow that you can't recover from. But if you start telling yourself that failure is just a stepping stone, a lesson in the process of growth, you'll approach each setback as an opportunity to learn and improve. You'll start seeing challenges as something to be faced head on instead of something to be feared or avoided. The most successful people in the world don't approach their challenges with a mindset of defeat. They approach them with resilience, determination, and a belief that they can find a way through. The words they use to describe their struggles reflect their inner strength. They don't say, "This is too hard," or "I can't do this." They say, "This is tough, but I've overcome tough things before," or "I may not have all the answers right now, but I will figure it out." Their internal dialogue fuels their resilience, and that's why they succeed. You have that same power within you. It all starts with the words you choose in the face of adversity. When things get tough, instead of retreating into fear and doubt, lean into your inner strength. Remind yourself that you faced challenges before and you came through them stronger. Tell yourself that this challenge too is temporary and you have the resources to rise above it. When you speak to yourself like someone who has already conquered adversity, your actions will follow suit. You'll find a way through, even when it seems impossible. This doesn't mean that things won't get hard or that you won't face moments of doubt. The point is, those moments don't have to define you. What defines you is the way you respond, and your response is shaped by the way you speak to yourself. So instead of letting fear and doubt take over, let your words be a source of strength. Speak to yourself with confidence, resilience, and belief. Your words will empower you to rise to the occasion. And before you know it, those challenges won't seem so impossible after all. In fact, with every challenge you face, the more you talk to yourself like someone who can overcome anything, the stronger you will become. You'll build a mental muscle that allows you to face any adversity with a sense of calm, clarity, and confidence. The way you speak to yourself in these moments will determine your success in the future. So when life gets tough, remember to talk to yourself like a champion. You've got this. You've always had it in you. Now let your words remind you of that truth. When you change the way you talk to yourself, you not only change your mindset, but you also start to create a new reality for yourself. The words you speak become the foundation for the way you see the world, the way you interact with others, and the way you show up in life. Our internal dialogue shapes everything from how we handle our relationships to how we approach our goals. If your self-talk is full of negativity and doubt, you're essentially reinforcing the idea that you're stuck or incapable of growth. But when you shift your self-talk to one of positivity and possibility, your entire perspective on life changes. Think about how often you limit yourself with your words. How many times have you said, "I'm not good enough. I don't deserve that." Or, "That's not for people like me." Those words act as self-imposed barriers that prevent you from reaching for what you truly want in life. But by simply changing the language you use with yourself, you start to open up new possibilities. Instead of "I'm not good enough," try saying, "I am worthy of all the success and happiness I desire." Instead of "That's too difficult for me," say, "I am capable of handling any challenge that comes my way." These small shifts in language might seem insignificant, but over time, they will start to shape a mindset that is open, expansive, and full of potential. When you talk to yourself with kindness, encouragement, and belief, you begin to change your relationship with yourself. You start seeing yourself not as someone who's limited by their past mistakes, but as someone who is capable of achieving great things. Someone who can adapt, grow, and evolve. And when you start seeing yourself that way, you begin to take actions that reflect that belief. You begin to take on challenges that once seemed too difficult. And you start to realize that you are capable of achieving more than you ever thought possible. This shift in self-talk also changes the way you interact with others. When you talk to yourself with respect and positivity, you naturally begin to treat others with more respect and kindness. You stop comparing yourself to others, and you stop measuring your worth against theirs. You start celebrating the success of others without feeling jealous or inadequate because you now know that their success does not take away from your own. Instead of feeling threatened, you feel inspired, knowing that their achievements are proof of what's possible. The way you speak to yourself also affects how you pursue your goals. If you tell yourself, "I'm not capable," you'll avoid taking the necessary steps to succeed. But when you start telling yourself, "I can do this, I will find a way, and I am equipped to succeed," you open up the possibility of success. The words you use set the tone for your actions. If you believe that success is possible for you, you'll start acting in ways that reflect that belief. You'll be more proactive, more willing to step outside your comfort zone, and more resilient in the face of challenges. This is why it's crucial to become aware of the language you're using with yourself. Every thought you have and every word you say shapes your reality. So if you're constantly telling yourself that you're not enough, that you're not capable, or that things are too difficult, you're setting yourself up for failure before you even try. But when you make a conscious effort to speak to yourself with belief, confidence, and possibility, you begin to create the reality you want. You begin to align your thoughts, actions, and energy with the future you desire. Changing your self-talk is one of the most powerful tools you have to create a better life. It's not just about feeling good in the moment. It's about changing the foundation of your life from the inside out. The more you speak to yourself in a way that reflects your strength, worth, and potential, the more you'll start to see that reflected in your actions, your relationships, and your success. It all starts with how you talk to yourself. You have the power to change your life, one word at a time. The way you speak to yourself shapes your actions and your results. But it also shapes the way you see the world. When you adopt a mindset rooted in self-belief and self-compassion, you begin to shift your perspective. Instead of seeing obstacles as roadblocks, you start to see them as opportunities for growth. Instead of focusing on what you lack, you begin to focus on what you have and what you're capable of achieving. This shift in perspective allows you to move through life with a sense of possibility rather than limitation. Think about how often your mindset has determined the outcome of a situation. Have you ever gone into a task or challenge with the belief that you're not capable of succeeding, and then found that you didn't perform as well as you could have? When you don't believe in yourself, you unintentionally sabotage your chances of success. You may not put in the effort needed, or you may give up at the first sign of struggle. Your internal dialogue impacts not only your confidence, but also the way you approach challenges and opportunities. However, when you shift that internal dialogue to one of self-belief and resilience, something incredible happens. You begin to take on challenges with a renewed sense of determination. You start to believe that there's always a way, even when things seem tough. And because of this, you'll start to find solutions that you may have missed before. Your mindset shifts from I can't to I can. And suddenly, doors open where they once seemed closed. This mindset is what allows you to grow, to improve, and to eventually succeed. Self-talk doesn't just influence your actions, it also impacts your emotional state. Negative self-talk can drain you, causing feelings of frustration, anxiety, and doubt. It can wear you down and make it harder to move forward. But positive self-talk has the opposite effect. It lifts you up, fuels your motivation, and strengthens your emotional resilience. The more you speak to yourself with kindness, encouragement, and belief, the more emotionally equipped you become to handle whatever life throws your way. You start to feel lighter, more confident, and more capable of handling the challenges that come your way. Your words create an emotional atmosphere around you. They set the tone for how you approach everything. If you constantly tell yourself that things are too difficult, that you're not good enough, or that you're not deserving, your emotional state will reflect that. But when you speak to yourself in a way that's empowering, uplifting, and full of possibility, your emotions follow suit. You feel more confident, more focused, and more prepared to face the day ahead. This shift in emotional energy is contagious. When you start speaking to yourself with more love and respect, that energy spills over into your interactions with others. You begin to feel more connected to those around you because your positive energy creates a sense of warmth and openness. People respond to that energy, and you'll find that your relationships become stronger and more supportive. You begin to attract more of what you want into your life, whether it's success, love, or opportunities. Because the way you speak to yourself creates a ripple effect in everything you do. The key here is that your words create a sense of momentum. When you speak to yourself positively, you're setting the stage for success. It's not just about speaking affirmations or repeating positive phrases. It's about genuinely believing in your own potential and aligning your words with that belief. It's about reinforcing your self-worth and your capabilities in every moment so that when challenges arise, you're not shaken by doubt. Instead, you face them head on, knowing that you are strong enough to handle whatever comes your way. This is why changing your self-talk isn't just a small adjustment, it's a game changer. It's about completely shifting the way you view yourself and the world around you. The more you speak to yourself like someone who is worthy of success, happiness, and love, the more you begin to create a life that reflects those beliefs. You begin to align your thoughts, your emotions, and your actions with the future you want to create. And in doing so, you unlock the potential that has always been inside of you. It all starts with how you speak to yourself. The words you use, the beliefs you reinforce, and the way you choose to show up for yourself each day will determine the course of your life. When you start to speak to yourself like you already are the person you aspire to be, you'll start seeing that version of yourself come to life in every action you take. And that's where true transformation happens.